Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. We're going to be jumping into the next segment, which is just talking a bit more about you, PiLiPiLi, and why haven't you broken out yet, man? Because it sounds like you do have some reasons in mind that you've given us, but I want to hear it from you.
I don't think I've been around on the scene for that long. And I started practicing a lot more now, especially with the stream. Dodging the tournaments, being non-confident in the tournaments, and like not playing the tournaments because I think I would never like beat somebody good. So I'm trying to not even embarrass myself, which I probably should because that's the only way to improve, by trying to beat good players. And also, I've always been unstable because I've actually in my life I've been in a lot of like sports. I've been going to tennis, chess, pool, like a lot of stuff, and I've been trying to play in tournaments, but I always would get like really nervous, like not like normally nervous, but like really nervous, and that happens with me in StarCraft too. So like I need to work on this like mentality level. I don't play as well as I do when it actually matters. Kind of like a ladder hero, I would say.
So, what's the hardest thing that you've encountered in trying to make a name for yourself in the scene?
Streaming is definitely the hardest because it's very hard to actually stream if you're like nobody, I guess, because there's a lot of big streamers. For example, if you stream at the same time with Minigun and there's a random guy coming to the Twitch page, he's never going to choose you over Minigun. So it's a lot of time comes down to actually being smart and stream like after them, because a lot of the times I would like sit on that, like wait for them to finish and do my homework, and then as soon as I finish I would like stop any homework and start stream, because I know the viewers need somebody else, some other Protoss player to stream, because there's no other Protoss, so that's when you can get some viewers. And it's not only to get viewers, you also need to keep them, because once they come to your stream, it doesn't matter, they're gonna like you, so you have to like actually like be really positive on stream, which is very hard because StarCraft is one of the hardest games to stream, because it's not that easy to interact with the viewers. It's very hard to, especially for me, to stay positive after loses, because sometimes if I would lose to some proxy games or something, I'll get really mad, and viewers don't like watching mad guy losing to proxy gates, so they probably gonna close the stream. It's StarCraft 2 is not as competitive, I guess, so that's good. For example, if I would be streaming League of Legends, that would be way harder, because like there's like way more streamers than there is in StarCraft, so there's less competition in StarCraft, especially nowadays. A lot of the streamers give up, and there's especially with the WTS, a lot of the pro players don't stream, so there's like a window for you to stream. But yeah, well, I've been trying playing tournaments to kind of make a name for myself, but that wasn't really going well, so.
Yeah, it sounds like you put a lot of time and thought into your streaming. So, and I've got to say, you've also been able to get some pretty good results in terms of viewer numbers and consistency in that. What do you think that you're doing right with your streaming then?
Well, I'm trying to like give commentary, I guess, to explain my gameplay, try to answer like literally every question in the chat, trying to make a community around your stream, because sometimes people come to my chat not to actually watch me play, because there will be like a lot of like, for example, GM Terrans or like some kind coming to my stream like every day just to chat. So it's not about they watching me, they also like just want to like have some fun in the chat, and I'll talk to them. So it's not only about like showing the gameplay, it's also about being interactive with the viewers. But yeah, also I made a really good connections with other streamers. Sometimes you would get hosted by them. So yeah, I think that's a big part about streaming, is also make connection with other streamers. Sometimes I would make like a show match with other streamers, which definitely helps to gain some new viewers.
But if you had to identify for yourself your greatest strength and your greatest weakness as a person, what would those two things be?
Greatest, I guess, sometimes I can be really dedicated to something. So I can like, for example, I stream like 200 hours a month while I go to college full time, and while I have to like, while I was living alone, so I had to cook for myself and stuff. So I guess that's something. The weakness, I cannot take losses at all, so I get really mad at them. So that's not good, I don't think. And I tend to get really negatively about StarCraft sometimes, because like, for example, if you would stream for like 7 hours and then you would get like minus 10 followers, and you're like, crap, I just wasted so much time, it's kind of depressing. And then you open like somebody else stream and they're having a great time, and you kind of get salty about that. So I think I need to like get rid of that, because that definitely doesn't help, like getting jealous of other streamers and not liking StarCraft 2 because maybe community is dead, or that game, whatever, would swarm us, like I would really get mad at them, even though I don't supposed to, because it's still part of the game, and nothing I can do about it. There's no point in complaining. I should just try to overcome them or something. But yeah.
Cool. Well, we're going to be jumping into the awesome game. Guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here for the awesome game of the day. We're going to be spawning up here in the top left-hand corner of the map on top of what was once a sad Protoss player, but is now just an angry Protoss player. It is Angry Arthur. And, of course, Rotterdam joining me once again. Rotterdam, who is his opponent going to be?
It's our man. It's the star of the show, the one and only North American ladder hero, but future destroyer of esports tournament, PiLiPiLi. How do you like that?
I'm digging it, man. I'm digging it. And we actually just watched, the last game that we watched was actually a Protoss versus Protoss, so I'm gonna kind of put you on the spot here for a second right now. How did you kind of feel about PiLiPiLi's PvP? Like, did you have any particular thoughts?
No,
about
I liked it. I liked it a lot. Yeah, I liked it a lot. I think it was very solid, but I think that game was a little bit deceiving. It's like kind of, it's a little bit silly. Like, he just played it very safe and conservative, which is the right approach, by the way, don't get me wrong, but he was basically riding the advantage that he built up for himself in like minute 6 or 7 all the way to the end. And that is not an easy thing to do, because it's very easy to throw games. Like, hey, I'm the king of throwing. But, Billy handled the early game aggression very well. Getting the safety void ray at first was an excellent decision. And after that, he just didn't make any errors, and he just had a smooth sailing all the way to victory.
Definitely. And I guess as long as we're kind of going to be focusing on the early game, since that is what we're going to have to go through first anyways, also kind of nice, a bit of harassment came out from PiLiPiLi in that PvP with the Oracle harassment. I mean, he managed to get like 8-9 kills on it.
What I think was one of the most impressive things is that he was microing at home while sending the Oracle in and never losing the Oracle. Like, I am the god of losing Oracles. Like, I just send him in, it's like, okay, 4 probes, sure, sign me up, send the Oracle straight into his grave. But he kept it alive for a very long time, and actually managed to get 8 kills in total. That despite the fact that he was under a lot of pressure, and it kind of felt, that he was the one that was scrambling a little bit. He wasn't at all. He was building a 6-7 work lead for himself on one base, and that is just excellent crisis management.
Yeah, and a lot of that Oracle harassment was actually happening during the time that Puck was trying to push into his base. PiLiPiLi was trying to micro back his Immortals and his Void Ray and like his Stalkers, make sure he didn't lose too much back at home to the big aggression. So really interested to see exactly if PiLiPiLi is going to do the similar thing, because it's actually the same map, Deadwing. Even though the spawns are not cross-spawn like that other PvP, could very well lend itself to maybe Stargate play again, which, yeah, looks like it is.
Yeah, Stargates are awesome on this matchup. Arthur has always struck me as a DT player, so I'm always surprised if he doesn't go for DTs, but we will see.
DTs are always really interesting. Oh, Stargate.
Okay, so now you just... this is always a funny scenario. If one guy goes Oracle and the other guy goes Phoenix, then it's just like, straight to the bank, you basically lost this game. Because the other guy can't really make any Phoenixes anymore and didn't do damage with his Oracle. So not only did he lose an expensive unit, he also has a tech building he can't use anymore. And any of the other tech that's supposed to be good against Phoenix is something that he can do. If they both open up with Phoenixes, then you get a really interesting game.
I feel like they've got to, because they both actually scouted out each other's Stargates. And actually, I am really wondering about the decision from Arthur to send the Mothership Core across the map. After seeing a Stargate, wouldn't you just be anticipating a Phoenix to come out?
I mean, yes, but it's also to confirm, because he cancelled his own Stargate, for instance. I mean, yes, now it looks very silly, because he's indeed just gonna lose his Mothership Core, and it's just like, that's the dumbest play ever. But, I mean, it's not a smart play, but at least he knows, like, hey, the Stargate finished.
Yeah, well, he, as you did mention, he's canceled his own Stargate, added on a couple extra gateways, and now, I want to say probably going to just be putting on a lot of gateway aggression, but here's the kind of awkward thing where the Phoenixes are going to come in, lift up a couple of pros, but how much energy did they actually end up using? Because this is an investment from PiLiPiLi to do some damage or just get up units. He needs something back at home to defend. Is the Mothership Core
Yeah.
with Photon Overcharge gonna be enough?
It helps for a while, it buys time, but that's not everything. He's actually gonna get a free kill on this Mothership Core. No, he's gonna send his Phoenixes back home because he knows he's under aggression. Alright, so curious to see how he's gonna handle this, if he's gonna make another safety Void Ray. I kind of feel like he will, because he's just a safety Void Ray type of guy.
Well, Mothership Core taking a little bit of damage, and actually, I love that PiLiPiLi just like buying as much time as possible before forcing out the Photon Overcharge. Not only that, but just baiting the Stalkers in as close as possible, just to get as much damage as possible.
That too, and I also think he was hoping that he would get a Phoenix home in time, so he could start lifting up some units that would still be in range of Photon Overcharge, but unfortunately, his Phoenixes were a little too far out of position.
Oh, that would have been pretty nice, but yeah, he's gonna be once again relying on those safety Void Rays. Then Immortal gonna be popping out as well relatively soon, but this Photon Overcharge is gonna be expiring relatively soon as well. And I'm starting to get a bit concerned with how many Stalkers Arthur has.
With the Immortal, now I really love that he's wiping in his Zealot, which is definitely a good choice. I would go for even one more Zealot. RJ is gonna get 3 Zealots on his own. It all comes down to Micro now. Yeah, actually, I think if he right-clicks on this Robo, imagine if he would be able to kill this Robo before the Immortal pops, then I think it's game over.
Oh man, well the pros are being pulled, they're fighting against the Zealots right now, and I like that the Phoenixes are lifting up as many Stalkers as possible, trying to take them out of the fight, but the Mothership Core does end up losing its life. The Immortal's still alive though, and that's going to be the big winner for PiLiPiLi.
Yep, microing it a little bit as well. A couple of these Stalkers from Arthur are starting to run very low on HP. I do like that Arthur is just completely ignoring the Phoenixes. I always think that's the right thing to do, because they run out of energy anyway. But man, that Immortal just does not die.
Oh, he just did a run-by shot, and the probes actually blocked the Stalkers from chasing it down. He is going back in for another shot with the Immortal. And Arthur, he's starting to lose a lot of units over here. He's done a lot of damage. I mean, he's actually 7 workers up now. But PiLiPiLi looks like he's starting to hold on, and he's keeping alive that Immortal. He's keeping alive the Phoenix.
Yep, and it wouldn't be Arthur if he didn't have at least 3 pylons on the other side of the map. So that is very nice. Not only does Pili hold for now, he's going to be able to get a couple of free kills on a bunch of... But man, that Immortal truly lives up to the name, to being an Immortal. He's like, I was born as an Immortal. Mortals don't die.
I feel like undervalued. He's kind of like the team player because he only has 2 kills, but you know he did a lot more than 2 kills worth of damage.
He's the MVP so far.
Yeah, he's not afraid to be he's not afraid to be Robin, man. He's not afraid to be the sidekick that doesn't get all the credit, but he does the work.
There's nothing wrong with being Robin.
Alright, well here comes the awkward point. PiLiPiLi still has a little bit of energy left over on these Phoenix, but he should be able to come in over here. Oh, actually, no. Arthur is pretty well prepared, not going to allow any kind of harassment to happen to these Phoenix. I like that.
I must say, Pili makes this stuff look easy, but it's not easy to defend those overly aggro Protoss builds. It's often, like one misclick and it could be the end. It's like immediately all Ogre. It's a very thin line between killing 4 Stalkers or, not killing anything. And sometimes it looks like you got absolutely demolished. Well, you maybe made one mistake. He does end up losing one of his Phoenixes there, but still, it was another excellent hold where he bought a lot of time. And it all comes back to, that first Photon Overcharge, waiting for it as long as he did, eventually allowed him to take that fight with the Immortal popping rather than taking it with 20 seconds left on your Immortal, and then you're in a lot of trouble,
Yeah, I mean, when you're playing at this kind of level, like, the seconds really do start to matter. Even holding off for a couple extra seconds. And actually, the Phoenix is going to come in over here. And since all the Stalkers are out on the map, they could potentially get the snipe off of this... Oh, Mothership getting a little bit too aggressive, but I think that might just be because Arthur is looking to maybe push up this ramp. But look at how many Zealots PiLiPiLi have. I love this. It makes it so hard to blink on top of a Protoss.
Yeah, blinking on top of this is like jumping into a meat grinder. I would not do that.
Yeah, but it becomes one of those awkward situations where it's like you want to because you need to kill off those Immortals. Because if you just kind of sit back, those Immortals are going to be wailing on you. So I feel like the longer this game goes on, the more uncomfortable it gets for Arthur.
The thing is though, of course you're right, but you don't have to take a straight up fight. What he could do is just expand behind this and jump 4 Blink Stalkers into the main base, try to kill a few workers, then maybe later jump 4 Blink Stalkers into the natural and get a few more probes. Yeah, if he just takes the fight here straight up, then he's going to get absolutely demolished, and that is the last thing that he should ever do, but he doesn't have to do that, and Arthur is smart enough to know that he shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I kind of really interesting thing about that, and I agree. That's normally what we would love to see out of those kind of Blink Stalker players, just making it really awkward where PiLiPiLi has to defend like from that top side as well as at the ramp. But actually, I just realized, you know, with the two Phoenix still alive and out on the map, Arthur did try to move his mothership across the map, but he couldn't because the Phoenixes started murdering them. So, or the Phoenixes started murdering the mothership. So I don't think that Arthur actually has high ground vision. In fact, I think that that sentry may have been for maybe it was just for force in the ramp, but I was thinking maybe for
it was just to.
yeah.
I think it was just to contain at first, and then later on, of course, you could use it for hallucination. If Arthur gets the prism, that would be kind of nice. But the DT is a very nice touch over here for Pili because Arthur did not have any detection on the other side of the map, so he had a contain, he just had no detection, so he had to give up the contain.
Well, one of the Phoenixes ends up dying, but the other Phoenix is definitely worth its weight. As it's gonna be able to lift up another Stalker over here, and he could actually get another kill. Oh, okay, Phoenix ends up dying. Never mind. Every micro.
I think it's really funny how you can. I think it's always really funny how you can push your Archons forward. And Pili was just doing that.
Yeah. Well, this is definitely going to be a very scary moment for Arthur because he's up against 3 Immortals. A lot of Zelt's going to be shook up, a lot of damage, and even the Archon over there just to make sure that he can break any kind of force fields.
Yeah, I actually think that he should just take that fight. As long as there are no Zealots in the mix, I think he should just take... Like, Photon Overcharge is good, but it's really not that good against an army the size of Pili right now.
Yeah.
Instead, he's going to take it safe, and he's going to play it safe and steady. He's expanding behind this as well. That is the most important thing. But this is still a fight that you wanted to take against a mostly Stalker-based army with 3 Immortals. It's almost impossible to micro for Arthur.
Yeah, it's just the DPS happens too fast to really do effective Blink Micro versus 3 Immortals wailing away at you. But I like, you know, Arthur going to be warping in a couple more sentries, has some more Stalkers coming in. Even with an Archon, it can kind of be awkward trying to break the force fields if it's coming down along a lot of different areas. The Archon is kind of clunky. It takes a while to move in.
Whole position being used over there by Arthur, which looked kind of goofy, but it's actually a good thing to do that, so he doesn't take too many free shots. Picks up the Archon, and the Stalks are in a really nice concave. Arthur is still going to lose a bunch of workers over here, but pretty good hold so far by Sad Arthur, or Angry Arthur.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to be pretty angry given how much damage these Immortals are doing, though. And he tries to blink on top of the Immortals, but pickups, actually. Loses one of the Immortals, but still, these Immortals are doing a serious amount of work. I think that Arthur should be able to clean up. No? Whoa.
I'm not sure. It's an Immortal. And Immortals don't mess around.
Apparently Immortals.
I mean, I didn't like that blink at all by Arthur, though. Like, I think if it's 2 Immortals, then you can go for that blink, but blinking on top of 3 Immortals is almost never a good decision.
Yeah. Oh, actually, great pickup. And I want to note the timing over there on PiLiPiLi's pickups is that it's after the Stalkers fire, so they just lose the shots entirely. It's not like, oh, well, the shots will just go hit other Stalkers. No, the shots are already in the air. They're not hitting anything anymore. It's basically just wasted time where the Stalkers aren't attacking. So really nice pickups from PiLiPiLi there.
A very solid play there with the Warp Prism. Definitely fancy. Fancy moves. Pili showing us he's got them micro moves for days.
Unfortunately, not going to be able to micro that Warp Prism anymore. Arthur's angry enough. He's had enough. He kills after that Warp Prism and kills it off. But PiLiPiLi has done the damage he needs to. Just take a look at the workers. Worker count. It's 22 workers to 33. They might both have natural expansions, but there's a stark difference in how much they're getting out of those naturals.
I love how Arthur starts transferring workers from his main to his natural by the time he might not his main. that is Arthur in a nutshell. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, it's still not too late to throw down a Dark Shrine, right?
It's never too late.
All right. Well, PiLiPiLi knocking down these rocks. Do you think this is just for like a third then? He's thinking about like taking a low ground third?
I don't like. Sometimes it's one of these things. I don't think we should search too much behind it. If Blink Stalkers start being annoying from Arthur, it's a little bit easier to chase them down left and right, but it's not really like a very deep thought process behind this. It's more just like, you know, if there are Stalkers there, then at least I can cut them off a little bit quicker. But that is the only thing.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. Well, one thing I can read a little bit into is the fact that the Robotics Bay does generally mean Colossus are going to be coming out relatively soon for PiLiPiLi. And considering that Arthur does have a Robotics facility, but no Robo Bay thrown down, I feel like with how many units he's lost, he's got to do something, right? So the question is, what does he do? Is he going to just go for charge? Is he going to just try and make a lot of the Blink Stalkers do harassment and take like an earlier third? Like, what is the kind of risk that he's going to be taking?
I think the only thing that Arthur can do is just hope for a blink into the main base, and with the good old 4-stalker hit squad, so you can one volley probes and just try to get 6-7 probes. Even if you lose your stalkers, I would say that's an okay-ish trade. And that is the only way he can come back. He's dropping a Robobane now, which is a little later than the one of PiLi, but not that much later, so that is definitely still a way he can crawl back into this game as well.
Yeah, I think the big problem though is just the fact that, I mean, we got, effectively, let's be honest, like, we got some gas mining in the main bases, but it's a one-base Protoss versus a one-base Protoss, and if you're making the Colossus, it's kind of hard to afford a lot more gateway units. So if it's just going to end up being Arthur's current standing army with, you know, plus or whatever, like a couple of extra gateway units he warps in versus PiLiPiLi's plus some Colossus, it's just like going to be really, really clearly in favor of PiLiPiLi, right? I mean, he's already sitting double the army supply right now.
Yeah, this is a little bit more of the same what we saw from PoC. Just PiLi early on, excellent crisis management, and then a couple of really cool moves with the War Prison, which put him even further ahead. I do like the fact that Archie tries to catch up by going up to 3 bases this quickly. You know, 32 pros, 3 bases doesn't sound very natural, but you got to start a comeback somewhere. So, you know, it is something.
Yeah, 10 workers per base, and I guess with 6 of them mining gas, that leaves 4 for minerals. Not the standard typical way that you'd mine, but regardless, PiLiPiLi gonna be going for his own relatively fast third. And I like kind of what you're saying, you know, PiLiPiLi, he's able to get those kind of earlier leads in the game and is just doing a good job of kind of carrying it over to the later and later stages of the game. Arthur's tried to do kind of Blink Stalker harassment, like poking and prodding, but he hasn't really been able to find a whole lot of openings.
It's difficult in PvP, especially against an army as strong as PiLi, when he's just truly dictating the pace of the game.
Yeah.
It's like what I said before. Pros players hate it because you want to be the guy. You don't want to be the guy that sits back. You want to be the guy that makes something happen to you. You know, like I have to make something happen. This quick turret nexus is definitely something that started to work in Arthur's favor, though. He got like 1 or 2 probes here and there. And now they're actually even on probes. Doesn't change the fact that PiLi's army is still way stronger than the army of Arthur. But oh, you feed back the hallucination. That's so funny.
That's actually really cute. I don't.
Yeah.
I guess he did have a Stargate. Maybe, I don't know, instinctive reaction or something.
I mean, he's gonna morph it into an Archon anyway, so the energy doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's true. Well, all right, PiLiPiLi looking to finally get aggressive. He has a very nice proxy pylon location. Maybe would like to get one further on the low ground just so he can get reinforcements there just that extra bit faster. But denying the third from mining entirely is obviously just going to be a really nice move.
This is one of the reasons why PiLi took the expand on the low ground. This is a very frustrating game when you take your turret where R2 has it right now, which would normally be PiLi's fort. There can be Colossus from the low ground that can just zap away at all your probes in your mineral line, and you're gonna lose every single probe, which obviously sucks like hell.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point that I'm gonna start employing in my games now. Didn't think about that one. But Arthur, yeah, gotta get into I feel like he's gotta start setting up like some kind of position, his Archons at the front and everything. PiLi gonna, I guess, you know, if you take out your opponent's third and you know you have your own third, it's okay to just back up and maintain that lead.
Yeah, like, you know, you want to play it safe. There's no need to throw this game, especially when you play against someone like Arthur. You know, it's a pretty, you know, a respected player all around when it comes to achievement. He's been in WCS multiple seasons. He has defeated a couple of very big names, has played on big stages. So if you are PiLi, like, you want to play it safe. If you're ahead, you don't. The last thing you want to do is make a donkey attack into the natural and lose against a time warp and photon overcharge. You know, that is something that I do, fear dragging. You know, that's not something that PiLi would do. So I understand he's playing it safe, but once again, he's extremely far ahead, and he should not lose this game ever.
I think Arthur knows, like, that PiLiPiLi is not going to attack into him. He has to go and put on the aggression, because the longer this game goes on, the more times his third expansion is just going to get denied or something. So he takes the engagement over here. Pretty good time warps going down for Arthur, actually.
Yeah, no, Arthur did almost everything right over there. The problem is he just didn't have any units to fight for him, but the units that he did have, he put in a really good position. He put on a good time warp, but he was just pretty damn far behind.
Yeah, honestly, I like the way that you kind of put it. It was a pretty clear-cut game toward the end, and PiLi was just playing it out very, very safe. But, you know, I enjoyed the early game, and I can appreciate a player that doesn't take the huge risks when they get the big leads, because those are some of the most painful times when you watch a player that has a huge lead and they just throw the game. That's one of the worst ways that you can end up losing a game.
Yep. Right. I know that feeling way too well, mate. Way too well.
Especially in PvP. But all right, guys. Well, thank you so much, Rotterdam. I don't know who would be crazy enough to even be watching this show and not know who you are, but thank you again for coming on. And where can people catch you at, man?
First of all, you're welcome. It's a really cool project that you're doing. You know, shine some light on the lesser known American players. It's something that I think I've always tried to do in some of my casts and stuff as well. But dedicating a whole tournament series to it, or a whole show series, I should say, I think that's super cool. So mad props to you. If people want to watch me play, if people want to see me throw some of the games that I just mentioned that I love to throw, you guys can check me out at twitch.tv/Rotterdam08. And if you wonder when I stream, you can follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Rotterdam08. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show. And also make sure to keep a close eye on Pili, because he's a guy that I've known from ladder, and you know, we're active with each other on Twitch and stuff as well. He's a really cool dude. He's a friendly character, and he's a very talented Protoss player. So I hope everybody wants to give him a fair shot.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Rotterdam, guys. Be sure to check out Rotterdam. But of course, we're going to be going back to PiLiPiLi with another interview segment. We'll see you guys in just a second.